Hello, fellow carbon-based bipedal humanoids. Not that there's anybody that will be watching this. I put a few videos out, but nobody has ever seen them except me. And no, I shouldn't say that. I did get one view on one of mine, and somebody said, "Man, you're effed up." I can't dispute that. Um, as it says in the description, I just sitting around and some memories. I don't talk to anybody other than my landlord and my kids, grandkids, and my two good friends, and that's about it. Um, anyway, I was sitting around, had a puff, and I remembered a friend of mine that I hadn't thought about, and oh, it must be a good 20 years or more that I thought about. And it's probably been about 30 years since I've seen him. I was in my early 20s, so, like 20 some years, almost 30 years. And his name is Troy. I'm going to say something, and I'm not being racist because Troy is a black man, and he was one of my best friends when I was in school. That's where I met him. Met him in junior high. His family was the only black family, but there was a lot of uh, his great no sorry his grandfather had 26 kids, and his father had 10, I believe, and he was the youngest of the 10. And Troy, he invited me out to his place one time. So I said, yeah, that'd be cool. Never been out to your place ever. Like this family, they had a gathering of houses on this huge, huge amount of acreage. Like as the boys grew up, they moved out, but they didn't go far. They just bought a piece of land not far from their father, and their sons not far from their father. So they owned pretty much this whole ridge side. And there was, what was it? There was 73 of them living like all in the one area, all grouped together. They were all close except for the few, like there was a couple that had moved out and went out west, or one guy he joined the services, and uh, he got stationed somewhere in Ontario, and he liked it up there. So uh, anyway, as I said, got invited out to Troy's place. Well, he had two brothers that were huge, and I'm talking like these men were like massive. I'm 6'1", 220 pounds. At my size, I'd like I'd be a shadow of these people, and Ledford was one of them. I can't remember whether he was 6'4" or 6'5", but he was about 300, close to that, 285 to 300 in that range, I'm guessing. And then there was Chris. Chris was shorter. Chris was 5'8". but he had like a barrel chest, and his arms were just naturally huge. I can't remember what he had, a 16 and a half or 17 and a half inch bicep going around. Like, that's a big arm. He was strong. Well, sitting there the first night I'm out, and Mrs. E, I'm not going to use the last name out of courtesy to my friend, since I don't have his permission to use his uh, family name. But I'm sitting between Lightbird, and I got Chris on the other side, and Mrs. E, she brings in, some drinks for everybody, and uh, there's the girls are running around, there's guys doing their thing and helping out around the house and just sitting around the house and other places. Like it was a chaos, but it was like nothing to them. This is the type of chaos they lived in. I wasn't quite used to it. And across from me was my buddy's father sitting in his chair. So Ledford looks at me and he said, "You know, I feel like an Oreo." I said, "What?" And Chris says, "Yeah, I feel like an Oreo." I'm wondering what in God's name are these two guys going on about. Anyway, he said, "Well, look at this. We got black on the outside, white in the middle." And the father across the room, he literally spit his false teeth out, laughing so hard. And I turned just as red can be. And right about there, Mrs. E, she says, "Oh, no longer an Oreo. That's one of them strawberry ones." The whole house talked right into laughing. And that was my first time meeting them. So after that, I I was back many, many, many times, and I love that family so much. But I had that memory, and like I said, I wasn't trying to be racist. Like I didn't even say the shit. I wouldn't have dared say anything. Now with the giant on one side and the monster on the other. Besides that, I'm polite, and I don't see color on people's skin unless it's like this garbage here, and that's I put that there. Well, no, all of it myself. Some people did some other stuff and whatnot, but yeah, I put some on myself, and so I that's the only color I see. Uh, Now I had a friend who had a very very strong accent. He was from uh, Indonesia, and he had a very very strong accent, and he had to slow his talk down in English to get the sentence correctly. So it wasn't so bad listening to him. It was just he had some pronunciations with some words that were different. And I had a real good friend out west when I worked out there. Uh, his name was Manuel. I don't even want to try and say his last name because I'd butcher that, but he was from the Philippines, and he couldn't say his F's. They come out like a P. So it'd be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, or instead of saying what his job was in the warehouse that we worked together as, he was a forklift driver. Well, his L's also come out sounding like an E or a P. So you ask him, "Manuel, what's your job here?" "Pork lips driver." And the first couple times he said it, I thought it was kind of funny. And I was young and impressionable. I was 22 at the time, so that's over 30 years ago. No, that's 28 years ago. Sorry. Uh, anyway, um, he was an excellent guy. I went to his place after work one time. Uh, he had some dogs in the backyard, and I was looking to get a dog for a pet. And I don't remember who it was. It was him and his father, or him and his uncle. They raised this type of dog. Uh, I was looking for the golden retriever. They had a couple that just had a litter. So anyway, I went over there, and as soon as I walked in the door, his mother, oh, come, eat, 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 eat. You white men never eat enough. Well, I hadn't even had supper, so I sat down, and she brings me two plates. One is like a good heaping plate of this rice with a whole bunch of stuff in it. I think it was pork, or I'm not sure, pork or beef. Could have been chicken for all I recall. Anyway, I got that plate, and then on the other plate there was a seafood. Like there was a couple of oysters. Uh, there was some scallops cooked. There was some shrimp on there. Uh, I can't remember the name of that fish that was on there. Was it salmon? I'm not sure if it was salmon or not. But anyway, tasty meal. I got about halfway done, and she come trying to fill up my plate. Now, no. You let me finish this. If I need more, I'll ask for it. She said, no, you eat. You're too skinny. Well, like I said, I'm 6 foot, 6'1", somewhere in there. And at that time, I was about 150, 155 pounds. So I just like that big. So she tried to fatten me up. Every time I went there, she made me eat. And anyway, I didn't end up getting one of the dogs. I can't remember why, but I didn't get one. I think it was because of the landlord I had. He had a problem with somebody else with a big dog, and then everybody wasn't allowed to have one. So that was at no fault of my own. But I did want it. They were beautiful. One of my favorite dogs. But anyway, that was a couple memories that just flashed in. Actually, these last ones, like Manuel, that's just one that I had as I'm talking. Uh, I don't normally talk to anybody, like I said before. I got my landlord here, and I'll speak with him. Like today, the power went out earlier today, so I spoke with him then. Uh, we will speak. We're friendly. Just I'm a loner. I mentioned in videos before I've got issues, so I don't mind being alone. Excuse me, always hydrate. Anyway, this has been 14 and a half minutes and more. I'll be done here at 15 minutes, so if anybody sees this, never stop, never give up.